Good afternoon. Not yet. Well, that's just way too kind. Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Toledo. I'm loud. We'll figure it out. We appreciate you guys all being here for what is a totally normal Rotary meeting. That's right. Apparently you guys heard we've got a high energy presentation today. I did my best to dress as nicely as I could because I wanted to try and outdress Dr. Durant. And I lost that battle by a long shot today. This time as we start our meeting, I'd like to ask Pastor Parker to come to the podium to deliver a reflection. And we're also pleased to be joined by members of the Young Men of Excellence to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Parker?
You can join me by bowing your heads for a reflection. Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering us here today as individuals committed to serving our communities and making a positive impact. We ask for your guidance as we work together, giving us wisdom in our decisions and strength in our actions. Empower us to be compassionate leaders and humble servants. Help us to build bridges where there is divides and to offer support when it is needed most. May our efforts always reflect the values of kindness, integrity, and selflessness. And as we serve others, may we grow in unity and purpose, shining a light in the world around us. In your name we pray, amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Attention! I am my brother Q.
And together we will rise.
I am my brother Q.
And together we will rise.
Starts with me.
Starts with me. We own the room. We own the room.
Johnson, they're yours. Good job, Johnson. We are.
TPS proud.
We are.
TPS proud.
We are.
TPS proud.
At ease.
As we begin our meeting, I'd like to thank and acknowledge Danbury Realtors as this month's sponsor and Rotarian Max Reddish. Max is out here somewhere. I saw him earlier, right here in front. Max, thank you very much. So normally at this time, we would ask you to go to the floor mic to introduce your guests. In lieu of us getting out before 3 o'clock today, we are not going to do that. But I do have a handful of folks that I want to recognize, elected officials, that kindly joined us today. If I could have you please stand as I read your name. TPS board members, Pastor Randall Parker, the president, Bob Vasquez, vice president, Mrs. Varwig, and Sheena Barnes. Thank you for being here. We also have members of City Council, John Hobbs, District 1, Venice Williams, District 4, Sandra McPherson, at large, and Teresa Morris with District 6. Thank you for being here. Our Lucas County Commissioners, Lisa Sebecki and Anita Lopez. Thank you. State Representative Elgin Rogers, all the way back. Thank you for joining us. And I have not met this gentleman yet, but I understand that Dr. David Lawrence, the superintendent of Dayton Public Schools, is joining us today as well, all the way in the back of the room. Welcome to Toledo. At this time, I'll invite our executive director, Jackie Bugай, to the podium to recap the annual Large Club Conference that she had attended with President-elect Scott Hinshaw.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here today. Last week I had the privilege of flying to Memphis to participate in the annual Large Club Conference of Executive Directors and President-elects. The conference is built for those Rotary clubs who have 275 members or more. In Toledo, we have 330 Rotarians, and we were joined by other cities such as Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Los Angeles, Birmingham, Sioux Falls, and Dallas, Texas, and more. We were hosted by the Rotary Club of Memphis, which has more members than we do, but they really proudly showed off their city. We had multiple live music acts. We heard from a saxophonist who is close friends with Whitney Houston. We had a performance by the cover band Memphis Jones and more. We also had the privilege of hearing from Dr. Downing, who is the CEO and president of St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So we learned about some of the work that they are doing for Memphis and globally. But that's not all. We also weren't just entertained the entire time. We were able to have some breakout sessions where we learned how to make our club better. So Scott, who's not here with us today, he's traveling again for work, him and I were in sessions that included topics like bettering our philanthropy and club member contributions, expanding our reach into Toledo and internationally, and also bringing local art and flair into programs and events in Toledo. So with that, I would like to say how excited I am to work with Scott in his upcoming presidency starting in July. And I know that with his leadership and the help of members like you, we will be in good hands here in Toledo Rotary. So thank you.
All right. We're also proud to announce our Toledo Rotary Founders Golf Outing is returning. I want to say special thanks to Alex Dew and Steve Miller for their support on this. They are actively seeking committee members, and we are going to start registering golfers here soon. But we are pleased to welcome back for the second year Erie Homes as the presenting sponsor, and we look forward to seeing all of you Monday, May 5th for the second annual Toledo Rotary Founders Golf Outing. So thank you to Alex and Steve, and thank you to Erie Home for their support. All right, let's get to today's program. It's my privilege to introduce the Superintendent and CEO of Toledo Public Schools, Dr. Romulus Durant.
As we continue to evolve, as we have done for the last 175 years, we are continuing to change the face of education. We are in the auto mecca of the world. We are the first to start the Electronic Vehicle Center for the workforce development of not only our students, but UAW members just as well. Where else can you go to be a pilot at the age of 16? Where else can you go to get an associate degree at 18 years of age, but more importantly at no cost to parents, because that is the power of public education. We are excited about the CDL opportunity. Kids being able to graduate with CDL license at the age of 18. At the same time, the highest employment agency is medical. So we created a school to align ourselves to the medical industry within this region. Our business academy teaching kids not to be afraid of investment, but more importantly, embracing investment to bring about opportunity to build wealth within families that ultimately impact wealth within communities. We are excited because we are now tipping the momentum in the city of Toledo of coming back to the city of Toledo. I tell you, I am a proud graduate of Wade High School class of '94. I am also proud of our 175 years. I say power to our staff and our community. We're going to work together to make it even greater another 175 years to come. And I say to you, each and every one of you, I am now and forevermore TPS proud.
All right, that's my presentation. We can now go home, right? Again, good afternoon. We'll try it again. Good afternoon. Again, it's an honor to be here before you today as a proud Rotarian of this club. I can tell you every time a situation comes about, this club steps up. I can tell you just within this last week, we've seen the hurricanes hit Florida as well as North Carolina. We had schools getting donations, had no clue what to do with it. Downtown Rotary stepped up and brought its mesa truck and being able to take all these items down in North Carolina as well as Florida and making sure the disaster goes not unnoticed. Again, the opportunities that exist in essence of all the things Rotary had provided for our district. We had just done a golfing outing with our students. They provided our special needs students to the zoo. At the same time, they have provided internships that I'm going to get into a little bit and supporting kids to be able to travel globally to study the work and focus of their education. So today, I'm taking you on a trip in essence of setting the foundation of one, giving you updates on where we're at with our most innovative schools. Because what I'm going to do is set the stage, for essence, when we get to Scott Park, the foundation of revitalization of the community. Meaning what I'm going to show you, if parents are going to drive 1 hour each way just to come for an education, imagine if we provide the same innovation in residency, the same opportunities that maybe they migrate back down into our city of Toledo. And at the same time, continue to expand about the work that we're doing in downtown Toledo. See, I live down here, been down here for over 10 years. So I see the revitalization each and every day. But how do we make that connection within the center of community? And that's what we talk about. Educational innovation drives community revitalization, the Scott Park vision. So let's get right into it. Again, updating you on many of the things that many of you are familiar with in regards to the Aerospace and Natural Science Academy. Many of you recognize this. How many recognize the Air Coupe 1946? People, if you remember, how many remember this? The Air Coupe 1946. This is when technology said, we are going to create an aircraft that is easiest to drive. And that's just what they did. Meaning, many of you realize in flying, you have to be able to control the rotors with your feet and your steering wheel. This vehicle aircraft allowed you to fly just as you would drive a car. One of the things they did not account for was stalling, right? So if you stall in a car, you just turn the key over again and hopefully it turns back over. But when you stall up there, it's good night, Irene, right? So they had to pull this vehicle off the line. But again, the kids are rebuilding this. This is what they're working on. They're excited in rebuilding it, and that's in providing opportunity of something that was legendary and moving forward. Update, this young man is Mr. Quinn. I'm proud of Mr. Quinn because he just got his pilot license at the age of 16. He told me he had just done 300-mile flight solo. Flew all over the state of Michigan and came back and landed solo for his license. Then he turned to me and says, you know, I've never been in a car by myself. I said, thank you for sharing that. But again, when you heard me saying it in the video, where else can you go for that opportunity? To be able to fly at the age of 16, no matter what your social economics are. You have that ability to be the next pilot. See, if you can't see it, you can't be it. And at the end of the day, if a child doesn't see themselves because they never tasted it, these kids are tasting what it means to be an astronaut, what it means to be a pilot. And so Quinn makes me very proud in essence of what he's doing. This young man right here, some of you heard this story. This young man was on a bicycle. And on that bicycle, he got hit by a car that had left him lifeless. Ambulance got there, and at the end of the day, they came and resuscitated him back to life. Took him to the hospital. He had a broken femur and a crack from almost the center all the way down the back of his skull. This young man came out of a coma within 14 days and was back to school on the 15th day. Let me tell you what the doctor said, what took the doctors by surprise. When he came out of a coma, the first word that came out of his mouth was, I'm going to lose my space at the Aerospace Academy. And the doctors weren't sure what he meant, and the parents said he was accepted into the Aerospace and Natural Science Academy, and that was the first thing that came to mind. People understand that when you give people hope, they will rise above means of healing themselves. They will heal their spirit, but more importantly, physically, to get to what they want to be. And so this young man, so he missed his shadow day. So I tell the school, hey, let's just take him up, travel around the city of Toledo in regards to when he gets out of the hospital. Next thing you know, we get in there, and I understand I'm behind them with the phone. And the instructor says, all right, we're going to let him fly. You don't mind, Dr. Durant. I looked, so I put myself between the steering wheel and him, and I said to the young man, understand, young man, you got precious cargo on this plane. You better do what he tells you. So if you can see in essence when he's flying, and I started getting a little bit into it, because he was saying, pull back. And he said, pull back, young man. Young man, you better pull back because the runway going to run out. That's when I'm back there saying, pull back, pull back. But at the end of the day, as you can see, taking off, he finally got lifted. He lifted up. But again, this young man is 14 years of age having this opportunity. And so these are the things that we make us proud in essence of the opportunities that exist, but more importantly, kids having the opportunity to do all the things in life that they may not have the ability to afford to do so, but continue to progress forward. So again, we're excited about the opportunities in our aerospace, and at the same time, it's called Aerospace and Natural Science Academy. Natural science, we've already made progress. Some of you were shocked last time I presented to tell you we have our own crocodile pit. These are crocodiles, the kids know them as caimans. And so what we have been doing in essence of the updates on them, the two on the left are the females, the one on the right is the males. We have several kids who are studying to become crocodilians. That is the name of the profession. How can you become a crocodilian if you have no exposure or have understandings of working with crocodiles? And so these young men work, a gentleman who used to work for the zoo. And so what you'll see here is they have been through, they're on their third trial. So as you remember, this right here are the crocodiles. So the first trial, the heat was too high. So none of the eggs hatched. So they had more eggs come about. And those eggs hatched, but the few of them were deformed. And so what they realized, the humidity was too high. So they go to the drawing board and they're putting all the notes. And now, as you can see, the crocodiles have been busy and they got more eggs coming about. So they are on their third trial. The kids got the heat right. They got the humidity right. At the same time, they got their fingers crossed because they believe this is their time. This is their time. But people, this is about life, about failures. You see, because the failure showed them what they were doing wrong. And at the end of the day, they were able to improve themselves within it. But it showed them reproduction is an act of miracle. Everything has to be right for it to happen. And so the kids are excited because the eggs are in incubation. We have 3 weeks before it comes. But here at the SSOE renovation at location, again, a location that once was going to be closed down is now a beautiful facility in the heart of the Metro Park and Botanical Garden. We take pride in this facility in essence of really making it look like the element that it exists. Again, we taking school to the place of industry. You saw the last location was at the airport. This is right there in the heart of the Metro Park, right there at the Botanical Garden. Beautiful wood element to bring it and make it integrated within the space that it exists. It has its own surgery lab. Kids will now begin to do real-time surgery right on the campus. Animals brought in may have emergency surgery. So again, providing opportunity because there's a veterinarian who is on staff to do the teaching. At the same time, what we're excited about is this young lady right here. Her name is Camila. Camila, if you read the article, and thank you, Ms. Burden, who's here, wrote an article because she brought this young lady and said, do you understand this family came from South Carolina just to come to this school? Literally came here and traveled all this way because they wanted their daughter to be at one of the top schools in this profession. And that's what she spoke about was in the Blade, saying if you provide an opportunity, people will travel states to get here. She's one of a handful that's already changed. We had one from Texas coming to engineering school. Just met the young lady from West Virginia last week. Merely, she says, I have an aunt here, and I found this school, and I was able to live here with my aunt to attend the pre-med academy. Again, showing you the ability of how far people will travel just for the opportunity. Again, setting up the stage. What if you had the right home residency for these individuals? Take a look here. We talked about, in essence, advancing ourselves in electronic vehicle space. We are the first in the country to have this. This is a national magazine that wrote, Ohio High School becomes the first in the United States to advance itself into EV training. Again, yeah, go ahead and clap on that one if you want to. I heard you. I'll take that clap. But understand is that at the end of the day, we are on the forefront of technology. We are advancing ourselves in the area, and when we move into the auto industry, we are in the auto mecca of the world. In regard to the 3 automobile manufacturers here, we now have the ability not only to provide a succession plan for those who graduate, but more importantly, those who are in UAW, thank you to Mr. Toddy, and working together to get those who are currently working in the manufacturer are ultimately trained in EV just as well. Take a look at the school. Again, we're excited because it is a true state-of-the-art facility. There are six bays that ultimately we have the Tesla 3, we had the Ford F-150, and at the same time, some of our van vehicles, and we're working to continue to add to the fleet. But again, we're excited because we now have one of only 6 in the world of EV6 training vehicle. Again, what this vehicle does, Tesla's created in Canada. Again, we are one of only 6, and we have it right here in the city of Toledo. What this does, it replaces electrical circuitry with lights. So kids don't have to expose themselves to electricity. They can now see the light travel to be able to see how the ignition works with different parts of the car, how different functions of the car work together merely by following the light. So again, truly providing opportunity for our kids to advance, but more importantly, you could do it no other place than this location. Take a look at this. It's called a switch. What this is, reminds me of the old Doom buggies back in the days. But again, this switch, way this operates, this is one of those vehicles that have 2 wheels on the front, 1 wheel on the back. The difference is this, it's electrical. These kids build vehicles from the frame out. So if you look at this, what this works is that, again, we can't take a Tesla apart, but we can take this vehicle apart, so we have 6 of them, and kids take them apart and put them back together every year. Everyone recognize this gentleman right here, past president? He was here at Toledo Technology Academy of Engineering. Rotary had sponsored and supported 2 kids to travel to Germany for an internship in engineering. Again, those kids came back truly feeling like they were informed about global competition. One thing they thought about how hard they work in Germany. And so what they began to realize is stepping their game up through the opportunity of this internship. People, we will not only have an internship in Germany, we are working on one in Brazil, Monterrey, Mexico, Canada, and Switzerland. Our engineers will travel far and wide with the relationship with the University of Toledo, as well as the relationship with industry, taking our students with them. Monterrey, Mexico, we have a company called CRISA, which is Libby Glass. We're going to come on with you. And at the same time, we have another company from Toledo in a relationship to Brazil as Sister City. We're going to come with you. And so that's the opportunity, but truly advancing our kids within that space. Thank you to the University of Toledo. We have now finalized the elite program. What that means is our kids will spend their senior year of high school as a freshman at the College of Engineering. They will go and do their junior and senior year with an internship as a co-op, which ultimately means these kids pretty much have a free engineering degree merely by being within the program. Again, being a creative thinker about how to get kids progressively through education with minimum cost to themselves. Truly and remarkable, and we're proud about that relationship. Again, homebred University of Toledo guy here to support them, Owen Community College, as well as all our institutions in this region. Toledo Early College, update on them. You've already seen the renovation to the Driscoll Center. Beautiful facility. We love this facility. Beautiful artwork to it. But one of the things that we appreciate about Toledo Early College, this line access tells you the blue line is the cost of college, yellow line is the increase in salaries. And so what we're seeing is a gap. And that's where we begin to talk about, because it takes a child 21 years to pay back a school loan. They will be within retirement, many of them, by that time comes, if we continue not to provide creative opportunities like the one we're doing here in the city of Toledo. So if you take out Toledo Early College, over 70% get 55 college credits or more. Over half the graduating class of each year graduates with an associate degree. I was blessed to be the keynote speaker at the last spring commencement. University of Toledo had 44 associate degrees across that stage, 30 of them from Toledo Early College. Thank you. Again, when you talk about how we're advancing ourselves for those who have college degrees, we are doing this right out of high school, merely in essence of being creative, in essence of how we provide opportunity for our youth. Again, we get into pre-med. What we've added is sports medicine. Why? Because what you'll find is you're not getting enough males in the medical program. So once we launched the sports medical program, all of a sudden our numbers increased with males. And this last recruitment, we were able to create 60% more males into this last recruiting class. And so what we're doing is exciting because every grade level has its own colors of scrubs. So this is the junior class, and every different color has a different color representation of the sophomore class, freshman class, as well as 7th and 8th grade. If you take a look here, these students are sophomores because they're wearing gray. They are also in the sports medicine, so they're learning how to tape ankles. Again, I'm a football player. These people are gold to football players. How you tape ankles, that determines I'm coming to you next time. But again, truly remarkable because these kids have ability to earn from 15 to 30 different certifications. Understand how this works. They start with 2 certifications before they even start school. So before they start 7th grade, they're bused to Owens Community College. Thank you for that partnership to get CPR and stop the bleeding before they even start 1 day of school. They already have an advantage of a regular 17-year-old or 7th grader. They will then progress on anywhere between 15 to 30, depending on their pathways of certification. What we do is celebrate it just like we would do in football. How many of you remember you just get that sticker on the back of the helmet? What we did was we got them a jersey to put patches on their jersey to reflect all the certification as celebration of these accomplishments. And truly embracing that encourage others to achieve the same within their footprints. Again, celebrating education more than what we do in athletics. If you take a look at this table, this is an homage. Understand what this table is, a very sophisticated table. Thank you to ProMedica who has helped assist in paying for this table. Understand what this table does. If any of you are a donor, you're donating your body to medical purposes, you could be on this table. Understand this. Yes, that could be you. Understand how this technology works. When you pass, they will take your body and strip it layer by layer of skin, muscle layers, tissues, arteries, veins, your brain, all your different organs get broken up into pieces and labeled, put back together on this table. So this child can take your body as it stands today, laid to rest, and then start ripping away the skins to get to the skeletal system. It can see where you have fatty tissue on certain organs. It can tell you where your cancer cells were growing within your body when you last was alive. Again, truly advanced technology of kids being able to study internally without ultimately having to do so while you're still sitting here. So again, we're excited. I had a question if I was going to donate my body, because I don't need them. How this Dr. Durant on the table. That's like bragging rights for the kids. I got him on the table. But again, take a look at here. This is Mercy Medical. And Dr. Braxton, as well as Matt Sapera, Baxter had help in supporting because now we have expanded to Pre-Med Academy. See, because what we've done is came into a waiting list and we have no space. So what we've done is created more locations to be able to expand our enrollment. So kids will start 7th and 8th within the wing over at the Development Center, and they will scrub their way out into Mercy College as well as into the hospital. So they will be on separate different campuses that allows our enrollment to go from 400 to potentially 700 because kids should never be on the campus all at once. The 7th and 8th are going to be over development. They will migrate to medical school. Some will be at the medical school. Some will be at Toledo Hospital. Some will be at Toledo, St. Vincent. Again, all migrating. But imagine your child going from 7th grade all the way to the 12th grade, all within the educational facility, all within the College of Medicine, truly being exposed to the industry. Again, thinking differently about a neighborhood high school. More importantly, let's just have a high school at the place of industry if this is what we're preparing you for. Again, makes the most sense within it, but we're excited about the partnership because we now have ProMedica as well as Mercy Hospital all within partnership of this school. Truly makes a huge difference. ProMedica just signed an agreement to hire all our 16-year-olds from the school. So those who are 16 years of age now have the ability to work at Toledo Hospital and be interviewed all through this MOU because of the relationship truly makes a difference. When we talk about other aspects, we advanced ourselves. You've heard us say about the CDL program.
Truly remarkable. People, we are in a logistical hub of the country. East, west, north, south, passes through somewhere in the Midwest. Right here at Stony Ridge. So it makes sense for kids to have CDL license because their employment opportunities truly are heavy within this region. This is Peterbilt as well as Holt Caterpillar. Some of you may not know I used to work at Holt Caterpillar in Perrysburg. But again, they had truly bought in and supporting our diesel tech as well as CDL program. So this is a certified pad for our kids to literally get trained as well as adults to come work for the district. But at the same time, be able to work for TARDA, as well as other logistical companies within this region, all at the age of 18. Truly remarkable in essence of opportunity, because this young man became excited. Why? Because dad owns a tow truck company. So he now is immediately employable to his father. He now becomes an asset to his family business, merely because he took advantage of the opportunities that exist within the district. Again, excited about continuing to provide advanced opportunities for our students within this space. But if you begin to look at all our comprehensive schools, because that is one of them, all of them had career tech programs within them. So when you talk about our magnet schools, those are focus schools. Our comprehensive high schools such as Scott, Bowser, Waite, all of them had career tech programs built within them to get certification as well as college credit as well. Meaning we're giving you more than one pathway to get to an end result. If you want to go into medicine and you may not want to go to the Pre-Med Health and Science Academy, you could go to Scott for MedTech or Bowser for MedTech. You might want to go into engineering but not want to go to the Technology Academy of Engineering. You could go to START Advanced Manufacturing Program or Scott's Advanced Manufacturing Program. Again, having other ways and opportunities for kids to advance themselves within that space. So we're excited because we have taken individuals that have doing tours to our magnet schools, as well as our career tech program. This is the Department of Education here in the state, and we have the federal government coming just as well. The first thing they sent to me after going through our tour, is that they sent me a note that says, you need to copyright all what you guys are doing. Because we have been everywhere and no one is doing this. No one has even figured some of this out. So whatever you're doing, continue to copyright that, and thank you to Roger Smith for helping with that, because at the end of the day, it truly allows cities like Toledo to be on the cutting edge. Her very next sentence to me was, because if you don't copyright it, the bigger cities will, and at some point begin to become the face of those things. Again, this is how we advance ourselves on the front line of getting grants and other federal dollars and other state dollars, because we become the innovation hub of this state of Ohio. Again, truly excited about those opportunities. We talk about the impact that it has had. I'm truly, just excited about what our district is doing, but more importantly, in regard to the impact it has had within the performances within itself. When you talk about the placement rate, what this is the placement rate is the 3 E's. When our kids graduate from our career tech and our career tech schools, what percentage of them are either enrolled in post-secondary, employed into a relative field, or enlisted into the armed forces? Take a look at this, people. Coming in as superintendent, we were at 45%, which means 55% of our kids weren't doing any of the 3 E's, meaning they are draining the system. They are draining the support system that exists. Take a look at our numbers. We now are into the 90s. But take a look at here in regard to COVID. Devastation of COVID sees a dip, but at the same time, we bounced right back out of the dip coming into this year that we're excited about, because we're now back to 95%. What that means is 95% of our kids are ultimately either enrolled in post-secondary, employed into a relative field, or enlisted into the armed forces. Here's one of the things that I really appreciate about what we have here. If you take a look at here in regards to what this does, it breaks the 3 E's down into categories. Where you look at in regard to talk about minority population, 97% of our kids who go through here are placed into one of these 3 E's. Almost 100%. Another one, socioeconomics. 95% of kids who are socially economic, meaning free and reduced lunch, are either employed, enlisted, or enrolled. Truly making a difference. And one of that also I'm proud about, kids with special needs. 92% are employed or enrolled into one of these opportunities. And one of the biggest ones that are most challenged population is our homelessness. People have no clue that Toledo and our kids in our district are 1, 2, and 3 every year in the percentage of homelessness in the state of Ohio.
bigger than what we have in the surrounding bigger cities in the state. But again, our kids are continuing to rise above all means and odds of advancing themselves. So if you take a look at the homelessness population, 90% of those kids are either going to post-secondary or employed in a relative field or enlisted into our armed forces, meaning they are becoming part of productivity in this society, which is ultimately a use. Thank you. Keep them coming too. I can use those all day. Keep them coming. But again, it's truly a blessing to be able to see that. When you talk about other aspects, when I even go into graduation, take a look at it. Coming in superintendent, we were in 60% grad rate, 5 years straight. Then we have shot all the way up to 82% going into the pandemic. We were on projection to be over 90%. Understand how this works in grad cohort. You have to follow these kids from freshmen all the way through. No matter where they move, you better be on their tail. And so we had developed a great system of following these kids. And what we do is, when you talk about herding cats, it means herding cats. You have to be in touch every week with every one of them are at risk. If not, you will lose them. You will lose track and not be able to find them. We finally had the system of being able to have a rotation of people finding these kids and knowing where to follow them to. COVID hit, completely wiped the border clean. Completely wiped because now we can't find any of them. Some have scattered between grandmas, some have scattered with aunts, uncles, family members, whoever would take them. So you can see our dip. And at the same time, we're coming right back out of the COVID situation. When you talk about minority, take a look here before coming into superintendent. Our African Americans who graduated was in the 50 percentile for 5 straight years. 50 percentile, now up in 80 percentile in graduation. Truly moving them. Same way with Hispanic students. 5 straight years, you can see 59, 57, 57, 58, 56. And eventually making a difference on the index market. Take a look right before COVID at 85%. Our Hispanics were hit the most because some had undocumented family members, which caused them to even disband even more and very difficult to find. It impacts us in our grad rate, and at the end of the day, we're pulling right back out because we're now understanding and finding these cohorts because everyone is starting to settle after COVID. But when you talk about the impact, in essence, of not only them, take a look in regard to our magnet schools. When you talk about 100% grad rate, those highlights are our schools. When you look at all the regional areas, ourselves as well as my twin brother, Dr. Fineski at Ottawa Hills, are the only ones that have 100% grad rates. Take a look, yes. So if you take a look in regard to the highlighted areas, our magnet schools, 100% graduate across the board in essence of that, what's in this space. Again, speaking to the impact that they're having with kids who ultimately have given up but now found passion about what they're learning. At the same time, we talked evaluations of 5-star rating across the board for our magnet schools. And one of the things that we were proud about the most in regard to the niche report. Niche report comes out every year. This is what families go to find out about high schools they want to go to as well as colleges. One of the things that we're proud about again, Toledo Early College ranked one of the #1 best high school in the Toledo area. Toledo Technology Academy of Engineering is ranked #3 public high school within the area. Our Aerospace Academy is #6, and our Pre-Med Academy will get evaluated next year. When you talk about magnet schools, we rank in the top in all magnet schools in the state of Ohio. Toledo Early College first, Toledo Technology, yeah. So again, we're excited because again, proof is what's in the opportunity, proof is what's in the pudding. And so what's in that, I'm gonna go in regard to showing you the impact that it's had in regard to interest. Take a look at this. This is what I tell people. When I go to present in families in the city of Toledo, if you still drinking that old TPS Kool-Aid, or you believing that old narrative that you may see on TV, the only person that's missing out who don't do their homework is you, because there is a financial advantage and academic advantage of these opportunities. Take a look here. These are students from outside TPS that come to our district just for these schools right alone. 721. So when you think about it, Dr. Durant, you guys haven't been on the ballot for new money in 11 years. You created these schools. How did that happen? Because we created an ROI with scaling innovative opportunities that brought new money into the district, that kept us ahead of inflation. And so what this means is that 721 is $6,200 per student. Everyone that comes in. Take a look here. So what I tell the parents, what do these parents know that you don't know? I ain't going to TPS. I don't want to send my kid to that district. And at the end of the day, these parents know better. So take a look, you got 210 kids coming from the suburbs, literally traveling here to take advantage and pay taxes elsewhere to come to school here. 61 of them come from outside the state. I've already showed you one in the article, but others are coming in from outside the state, taking advantage of the opportunities here in Northwest Ohio. 314, when you take a look at that in perspective, that's 113 schools outside of TPS that are coming here. When you take a look at farthest west at Pike Delta, one of the things, Findlay, these families travel from Findlay, Woodmore, Worthington's another one. So as you take a look, what we do is cultural awareness for the fact that these kids are coming from so many different areas that at the end of the day, they truly need to make sure that they have social awareness of the students that are within the room, charter schools as well as private schools that these kids come from. And so what I do is make sure that I track this on a weekly basis. So when you take a look at here, this is tracking the school. This is just the aviation school alone. If you take a look at aviation school, those zeros mean there's no seats available. What you see here in the right column, that's the ROI. That are new kids, which means bring $6,200 per kid. On the left side, that's us competing with all those who went open enrollment in the suburban areas, meaning they're going after those outer lying schools that sit between us and Toledo and the suburbs. So here are those schools, and we track, and that's do parents in those areas as well as outside areas find these as great opportunities? If you can see right here, just at the Aerospace Academy, 23% come to suburb, or 23 came from the suburbs this fall, 5 from Catholic, 5 from charters. You take a look at those, what we call sustainable dollars that would have left. Beverly and Elmhurst are a key one, poster child for that. You can see just what the aviation school portion, where they're at. You go into the other one, take a look, zeros across the board. What that means, no seats. At the same time, that's why we're creating separate campuses to add more. If you take a look in regard to the breakdown, 10, 5, and 10, as well as 18 from Beverly, 5 from Elmhurst, again, what it does, it tells us kids within the area are taking advantage, but more importantly, kids even outside are. Take a look at the medical school, 0 across the board. What that means? 0 space. Take a look, 19 from chartered, 18 from Catholic school, 14 from suburbs. 11 from Grove-Patterson, again, it shows the numbers ultimately being on top of the data to make sure this is what the community wants. So the whole ideology in talking to a Paul Toth who says, listen, Dr. Durant, if parents are willing to send their kids from outside this region for school, which is what most people choose where they live at, what if we create that same innovation around the schools within itself and create a community? People, that's what gets us to the vision of Scott Park Project. Again, when we talk about Scott Park, many of you recognize it used to be the old CompTech in regard to 288,000 square feet of opportunity in regard to what we could do at this space. When you take a look at this, this was once owned by the University of Toledo for associate degree and certification pathways. That ended in 1999. And at the same time, we've had Toledo Early College location, which obviously you recognize we moved to the Driscoll Center. But at the same time, if you look, this entire campus has opportunity in essence of collaboration, but more importantly, providing a 3-pronged approach of how we're going to approach this. This campus is going to consist of educational, recreational, as well as residential, all on this campus. And at the same time, when you talk about from an educational perspective, we're going to have 3 magnet high schools potentially that's going to matriculate through there. They're going to run from 7th grade to bachelor's degree. All that's going to happen through collective collaboration. We have our community colleges at the table. We have our 4-year institutions at the table, all having conversations about what does a certification program look like, what does a 2-year associate look like, and what does a 4-year degree look like, all seamlessly on the campus, as well as migration off the campus to main campus. So again, yeah. So if you think about it, we're going to have the College of Business Academy. When you look at the College of Business Academy, one of the things that I'm going to rework what's in that. Because one of the things that I'll hear from some of you in the room and others in the business community, you'll say, Dr. Durant, we need to do more financial literacy. We are doing financial literacy. All schools have to do it in order to graduate. What you mean is the understanding of how the economy works is what you want these kids to understand. And that means you have to have more than a working class mentality, meaning you just can't work for money. You have to know how to make money work for you. And so this is what we're teaching these kids in the Business Academy, that you need to come through and understand of possessing an LLC before you graduate, how you have taxation opportunities with the taxation of the government. The IRS gives you opportunity and benefits. How does real estate impact your financial portfolio and depreciation and all the things that allows your profitability to look low, even though you still have a lot of funding or income into the bank? At the same time, understanding taxation codes that benefit the partnership between the government, real estate ownership, as well as LLCs. See, because understand, banks have got to give loans. Businesses got to get started. Somebody's got to have a 30-year career, and that 30-year career has got to pay for a 30-year mortgage. And all that become part of this big mantra of an economy. Our kids, if you truly want them to understand wealth and come out of poverty, you got to teach them the aspects and the characteristics of wealth. In regards to what does it look like to be a successful business owner? What does it look like to have LLCs and know how to use your LLC to your own benefit? At the same time, property. I heard Senator Elgin Rogers' grandfather say one day, he said, the world is big and every one of us should own a piece of it. Do you understand that? You got a world of itself and every one of us should own a piece of it. But we have kids who are going through a community that have no ownership and equity and all the things that they wear on their feet, or the cars that they drive, or the community in the house that they live in. And so again, truly providing a better sense within the Business Academy. Same time, creating a junior chamber of commerce, teaching kids understand the benefits of what the Chamber of Commerce stands for and how it operates. Understand why it's important to be a minority business owned by putting the right paperwork in, opposed to not putting one in at all. All those benefits come into play. When you talk about the Educator Academy, we're providing succession planning for all different industries. Teaching is starting to become a dying profession. We need to create our own pipelines within education. So we're creating a College of Education and Social Service Academy. Why? Not only will you have educators, but you have counselors, psychologists, social workers. Social service means police and fire. People, we're at Scott Park. Scott Park has a police precinct. Kids now could do 911 dispatch, as well as do follow along with some of the officers. But at the same time, you have a campus that has a social service aspect right there in the heart with those kids. And at the same time, the last is the Construction and Architectural Design Academy. Again, getting with our 16 trade unions where we've been meeting with, and Keith Dawson has done a phenomenal job of meeting with all of them. And one of the things that we've done was, and said to each one of them, those who have training facilities, if you could have done this over, what would you have changed? What would you have done differently? Because at the end of the day, what we want to do is make sure to make those changes while we're on the front end of it. One of the biggest ones was storage. Create your separate storage facility. Don't integrate the two, because then it takes up educational space and then you are limited. So we can, that's a good idea. So when we put our industrial equipment, make sure that we have a separate facility to do just that. But again, when you talk about the essence of the school itself, let's take a look in regard to, this is what Scott Park looks like today within itself, and then talking about what it looks like tomorrow. So here we go. Take a look. If you saw in the paper today with the Blade article, again, these are all the aspects that's going to be on it, and we're going to zoom in a little bit just so you can see. Again, you're going to have what's in the central pipeline of the education areas. When you walk in, administrative suites are going to be off to the left, which is what used to be the Minority Affairs office. To the right is going to be fitness, as well as the dining hall, which used to be an auditorium, as well as a cafeteria. As you progress a little bit further off to the left, it's a construction, outdoor and indoor facility. So again, the construction workers can work indoor in training as well as outside door training, as well as lend itself to all the land opportunity for heavy equipment operation. As you work your way through the concourse, to the left of that facility is ultimately we're going to be the Business Academy, and then to the right is the Education and a Social Service Academy. If you go further on, remember I told you this is going to run from 7th grade all the way up into bachelor's degree. You're going to have interchange of ages all within this campus. You're going to have 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds, and you're going to have 7th graders who ultimately are going to be in isolated areas, but what you're going to have is an interchange of different individuals. One of the things is what's a barrier for college attainment is child care center. You see right here, we now will have a child care center right here on this campus for individuals to continue to advance themselves within the space. Hey, thank you. So again, child care will be offered there. Ministry as one of the will be there as well. One of the blessings we've had is, at that location is that not only child care center, also as a pastor. So again, Again, we're going to have a church on the campus. Lord, no, we need prayer. Right? Lord, no, we want some prayers. So again, we're going to have ministry on the campus. Take a look over to the left. This is Scott Park University Village. This is where the living quarters go. This is where our students, as well as, or I should say our staff and others will live. Understand the whole ideology behind this. We want teachers to live on the campus they work. We want police officers to live on the campus they work. You want professors to live on the campus they work. If so, recreate the opportunity space for them to do just that. And so when you think about this, to having a child be able to attain a bachelor's degree as well as subsidize your own salary of equitable living space makes a huge difference in opportunities. Right here, if you look in the center, this is where our future partnerships with our universities, meaning those who have interest in other universal opportunities of having their own location to do those things in, we're going to continue to partner and have shared space, but then for them to have their own separate space to do just that. The solar panels, we are 4 years removed from owning those solar panels outright, meaning the contract between the University of Toledo and that provider will expire in 2029, meaning we have the ability to become our own sustainable energy to be able to create our own solar power to ourselves. At the same time, begin to work with others to provide, in essence, a profitability. When you look at Athletic Dome, so we have investors from out of Canada that I played football with at the University of Toledo. And so they're looking to invest because they do this in Canada and have an interest of bringing anywhere between 90 to 130,000 based on the square footage. But what you'll see is that it may not be here. What we're doing is giving imagery there because that's a popular used baseball diamond. So we figure out how do we salvage those and put a dome within the space somewhere within this campus. So we're working with our architects as we speak, but what that does is provide the ability to say, we shouldn't have to travel to Rockford to get this same amenity. We should be able to provide this for ourselves. And then when you go down to the bottom, these are apartment complexes as well as our villas and duplexes. People are working with Area Office on Aging and hearing their report. How many saw the report that they had received? It said that those senior citizens in the Toledo area who own their own home live 20 more years extra than those who don't. 20 extra years just because of home ownership. But then when I ask yourself, what are some of the barriers that keep a senior from owning a home? And that is physical ability. The ability to maintenance a home. That is no more your responsibility. See, because the Construction Trade Academy is on this campus. You put a ticket into the Construction Academy, a child comes out with an adult to take care of the work as part of their offering of their learning. That is part of their learning. That is part of the tax dollars that have supported them and ultimately supporting you. You say, what about my landscape? We have a landscaping program. That is their responsibility to see to it that your landscape is taken care of as part of their educational learning. The power of supporting at the pole. This is the essence of what we're trying to do for our seniors, as well as then provide apartment complexes as well. If you see that pond here, that's going to be populated with bluegill, bass, perch, walleyes. Or not walleye, can't get walleye in there. Okay, well, I'll try to ease you in there, but you know. But again, we're continuing to populate the fish. One of the nice things about it, this campus will be connected to Ottawa Park through the biking trail that the Park and Recreation of the city had already created down Parkside Avenue. That connects now all the way to Ottawa Park. You have two park systems interconnected through a biking path. We're working to link that on to the universal path that runs through Ottawa Hills as well as Sylvania. But again, power of the image truly makes a huge difference. And before I let you out, I'm going to go into what we've done as regards to the ROI. Meaning understand that as investing things such as whether it's tax dollars or other things, what are the returns to this community? Again, if you can see what's in this project, there's an $84 million annual return based on the projects and the work that's going to exist here. Understand that there's going to be a $1.1 million return in taxation of income tax as well as business tax because of new jobs and opportunities that will exist here. When you look in essence in regards to every dollar that's invested on a bond, there's 11.6 in return on its investment year over year for 10 years. One of the things that we've done, if you look at the bottom, an investor wants to know what does that look like year by year. If you look in 2025, every year you see the return on investment each year, meaning what you're going to see is as the projects scale upwards, more and more work is going on, more and more jobs are created, more and more return comes to that community. And so you're seeing that it's progressing over the 10 years, kind of like Mr. Wonderful always says, when will I see my money, right? Well, at the end of the day, this is how you see those returns year over year, what it looks like, merely because projects are scaling along. Facilities are having updates in construction, the renovations or the recreation, as well as all the other amenities that's on campus, such as health clinics, fitness centers. All those things need employability that will bring 3,000 jobs to this campus, all within the foundations of education. And so we're excited in regards to the opportunity that continue to bring. This truly, in essence, is what makes me TPS proud, in essence of knowing that at the end of the day, we continue to provide the most innovative opportunities, but there's a support system that you can see what's in this room. And so those of you who are not Rotarians, I would say become a Rotarian. Because at the end of the day, no matter where you travel in the globe, there is always a Rotary within that region. I don't care if it's a third world country, there is Rotarians that exist within there. Had to put the plug in for Rotarian. So again, I say appreciation. Again, just as you saw in my video, I said that I am TPS proud, now and forevermore TPS proud. Thank you. I guess I'm the interim president right now. Come on.
So excited, I was ready to run through a brick wall for you. You ready to go, Coach?
I'm ready to go.
All right. I realized at the start of the meeting, State Representative Michelle Grimm was kind enough to point out that I forgot some people, including Michelle Grimm. So Michelle, thank you for being here. We're also blessed to have a handful of our former mayors in the room as well. I understand Cardi Finkbeiner, Mike Bell, Donna Owens, and Paula Higgs Hudson are all with us as well. Thank you very much for being here. All right, Dr. Durant, thank you for joining us. As the Rotarians know, it is our tradition as a thank you for your presentation. We always do two things, and we're going to do one of them a little bit differently today. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a donation in your name to the Rotary International Polio Plus Fund as part of Rotary International's ongoing commitment to eradicate polio. So we're going to do that. You've also spoken to our club a number of times, so you likely have a couple of your own copies of Historical Tales of Toledo, an incredible book that was authored by our own past president, Clint Mock. We're not going to give you another copy. But what we are going to do, and I had the privilege of talking to some of the young men of excellence that were here in the room today, we are going to donate a copy of that book to every single member of the young men and young women of excellence at Toledo Public Schools to help bridge the gap between yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Thank you. One more time, a round of applause for Dr. Durant. Thank you. Next week, another big meeting. I expect to see you all here on Monday. Actually, well, not here. We're going to be over at the Huntington Center. But we're pleased to collaborate with Women of Toledo for their annual He for She Forum. We'll be hosting the panel discussion, Allyship in Action. We'll be joined by panelist Vince DePaufy from SSOE, Rodney Eason from Erie Homes, and our very own Chuck Stocking of Principal Business Enterprises. We'll be moderated by Rotarian Julia Hage of Ann Grady Services. Again, that meeting will be at the Huntington Center Aquarium. Guests, you are all welcome to join us. Can I just have you guys stand up briefly if this is your first time at a Toledo Rotary meeting? There's nothing to be ashamed of. Thank you all for being here. I am incredibly proud of the work that Rotary does. Dr. Durant shares that excitement with me, as do all of the Rotarians in the room. We're doing incredible work here in the community and around the world. I would love for each and every one of you to be a part of helping us do that and move the needle in our region. We have one committee meeting this afternoon, Membership Committee, which you are now all a part of. We will see you all in Summit A. With that, go out and make it a great day. We are adjourned.